Hello everyone, we're doing something on our phone because many people in the past have asked for a bookshelf tour, and it's going to be fast, but we're finally going to do it because I just moved and I've got, no, don't step on the cat's tail. What's up, cat? Yeah, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sweetie. You're okay, right? Yeah, she's very angry. But she's angry about a lot of things, so it's not much I can do about that. Oh. Okay, this is not supposed to be a cat tour, but it's starting off as a cat tour. So, bookshelves. I've got two here. I've got a third over there. Let's make this reasonably fast. I'm not known for my fast videos, but we're trying. Okay, so, top left. We've got Greenbone Saga in the Illumina Crate editions, which are pretty nice visually. They are annoying because they don't, I'm going to put it on my desk and show you what I mean. They don't stay open, but they are signed. So they're kind of cool to own because they do look cool, but I don't know if I would fully recommend them just because for actually like reading, they are just the normal Orbit hardcovers. And obviously I've got all three. And then I've got Untethered Sky in here, also by Fonda Lee, which I haven't read yet, but I'm going to. We got our four Patrick Ness books. I've got Chaos Walking. These barely made the cut to make the background bookshelf, but at some point, then I've got my mismatching Dandelion Dynasty, which makes me sad. But I've got all four Patrick Ness books. I've read these three. I have not read a Monster Calls. It's actually a really pretty nice edition of the Monster Calls. It's just the paperback, but it's got like a bunch of art on the interior. I'll definitely read that at some point. It's very short. And then we also have Knife of Never Letting Go, Asking the Answer, Monsters and Men. I really like that trilogy. It's not like among my favorite ever, but this was pretty high on my top book list of 2023. Which granted, 2023 wasn't a super stacked year. Would it have been, no, it was 2023, yeah. Then we got Dandelion Dynasty. I have Grace of Kings over there, but it's the tall mass market paperback. And I just don't feel like buying it again, to have the matching issue. And then Speaking Bones was only out in hardcover, so I have Speaking Bones. Also, we've got like the little jade mask thing for Greenbone, and then I have no idea what this is, so I just put it there randomly. And then we got the whale in front of Dandelion Dynasty, which you might understand if you read the Dandelion Dynasty. Then I've got the other two Ken Liu stuff, which are, let's swap these order-wise because of height. Make the transition better. If you guys notice, I set these up pretty recently, so there might be books in the wrong order. If you guys notice any, I'm trusting you to tell me and be like, hey, you're, like if these were backwards, I'm trusting you to tell me like, hey, you're gentlemen bastards. What noise was that? See, the cat's freaked out as well. Whatever. I'm trusting you guys to be like, hey, your books are in the wrong order. Anyway, we also got Gentlemen Bastards, just paperbacks, which obviously I've read. I haven't read Hidden Girl, Another Story. I have read Paper Menagerie. And then I've obviously read all of these except Untethered Sky and Monster Calls. And then we've got Titus Grown, which I think I'm going to read next, and Warrior Born, which I just didn't have a better place to put, but is the novella that goes with the Cinder Spires. This top shelf gets cut off for the background of the YouTube video, so is on average books I like less and are less visually impressive, but they're still like books I really like. I mean, it's mostly books I like. I randomly got the Arithmetist here because I didn't have a better place to put it. And then I've got all my UK Cosmere. Really annoying that Lost Metal is so much like taller than all the others, and you couldn't get the like UK paperback when it came out, but whatever. And then I've got Dune. I've got Heretics of Dune as well. I'm probably never going to read it. Just finished God Emperor, and I'll probably stop there. Maybe I'll read it in like 10 years. And then I've got some Tad Williams, Memory, Sword, and Thorn, and I found this in a used bookstore, the hardcover of The Witchwood Crown, which was pretty lucky. I just saw Tad Williams and it was like $3 hardcover, and I was like, sure, why not? Like, and then it ended up being book one of the next series. I know there's one in between this, but I forget what it's called, but I'll read it, just probably on e-reader. Next we come down here, we've got Sun Eater hardcovers. Disquiet Gods is taller. That is getting a doll one. I'm probably just going to stick with the Bane one because I don't feel like buying it twice. All of them are signed except Empire of Silence. But I'm not going to take them all out individually to show you that because that's too much effort. And we've got this like weird periodic table thing I randomly got for Christmas. And Sun Eater is sciencey and has elements, so that's why it's in front of it. And we've got the Rage of Dragons and Fires of Vengeance. I think these covers are like the biggest discrepancy in how good books look in person versus how good a cover looks when you just look at a picture on the internet. Like, I feel like film doesn't capture that. Like, these are just really nice looking covers. And then I've got my, this has got a bookshelf that someone in my D&D group named Anya got me as like they were on a trip and they got everyone a gift. And I got this J bookmark, and it's going in front of Lord of Emperors because Lord of Emperors is the GOAT and deserves to have something fancy in front of it. These hardcovers are pretty cool because when you put them together, they make one coastline. I can confirm that GGK himself is a fan of this because when I got these signed when he was in Vancouver, what's up? He was like, oh yeah, those, sometimes you get lucky, and he said these were some of his favorite covers that he's gotten. And then I've also got All the Seas of the World, just because it's the other GGK hardcover I have. I guess I also technically have Isabel somewhere, but I just don't care enough about Isabel. And then I've got Age of Madness hardcovers. It is kind of annoying me that the Age of Madness hardcovers are not next to the rest of the First Law, but it just worked out that way. And then we've got all our GGK paperbacks in Roy G. Biv order. I have this in front of it. I don't know where this came from, but it feels history-esque, and these books are history-esque, so there we go. Obviously not in publication order. You go in Roy G. Biv order, and then Piranesi at the end kind of goes with it as well, another dark purple. And then I just wanted paperbacks that were like books I liked that were the right height. I've got Beyond This Dark House. Thank you, Evie. She sent that to me, and I haven't read that yet. Evie also is sending me the Broken Binding Dandelion Dynasty, which are gonna go somewhere front and center because she's like the nicest human ever. And also sometimes I say her name wrong, which I was called out on Discord by Kyle recently. I sometimes say Evie instead of Evie. Sorry, Evie, you're the GOAT. Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna read this at some point. I'm not a huge poetry person, but it's GGK. We got Broken Earth. We got Augustus. We got both Ted Chiang short stories. I have not read Stories of Your Life and Others. This is one of those that's just like always nearby on my TBR, but I haven't got to it. Got The Dispossessed, The Last Unicorn, No Country for Old Men, The Road, which I hope to read this year, and then The Princess Bride and Children of Time. Children of Time is unfortunately slightly destroyed. It got water damage. I forget how it got that, but it made me sad, I'm sure. Going down here, we got the Realm of the Elderlings shelf. Just all UK Realm of the Elderlings paperbacks. And then two of my lowest, my Bujoled books at the end. I keep saying that name wrong, and I apologize. But in fairness, I feel like I've said it correctly before, and then someone corrected me and told me to say it wrong. And then I've been corrected in every which way, and just no matter how I say it, I get corrected. So I'm giving myself half a break on that. But I've only got Shards of Honor and Curse of the Chalian here because I have most of her books on e-reader. I read Paladin of Souls physically, but it actually also got water damage, much worse than Children of Time, and got destroyed. So it had to get yeeted. And then I got a dog going with Realm of the Elderlings because there's lots of good boys in Realm of the Elderlings. And this like weird compass thing that my grandmother had that I feel fits with live shit. Next up, we got fancy hardcovers. This is where I've got most of my fancy hardcovers right next to each other. I might move Wizard and the Pigeons. It doesn't really go with it because it's like got a dust jacket and the rest doesn't. But I don't know what I would put there instead. I'm sure I'll get some other nice edition at some point. And it can, I mean, I've got room for a few more nice editions because this can obviously stop being forward-facing. Same thing with if I get more hardcovers, like when more Sun Eater books come out, I can just be like, whoop. But I like having Lord of Emperors forward-facing. So we got probably the nicest books I own in folio Book of the New Sun. Of all the special editions, this and The Way of Kings Leatherbounds probably are the ones that are, like, in my opinion, the highest quality. And they are gorgeous. Just hit my head on something. They are gorgeous, and they just feel like they've got the blacked out top, which I think is really nice. I'm not going to open them because a bunch of the artwork is demonetized. which is kind of funny. But if you're a fan of Book of the New Sun, I think they fit the vibe of Book of the New Sun extremely well. And then I have an extra Way of the King's leather bound, because this first one I got had like a tiny issue with the binding, and Dragonsteel just sent a replacement, which, like, it wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, normally I'm not one to be picky about things, but it's like a $200 book, so I didn't feel that bad about it. But like, they just really don't cheap out on quality. Like, you'd think single press that only does Dragonsteel, they might feel like slightly less quality than like special editions made specifically by companies who make special editions, but I think it's the other way around, in all honesty. And then I've got an Easton Press Count of Monte Cristo, which I haven't even read Count of Monte Cristo, but I remember there was a bundle of like it and Brothers Karamazov, which is down here, and they were just like cheap if you bought both, and the hardcovers, normal hardcovers, were like pretty expensive, and I was kind of like, it's not that much more, I might as well just get the Easton Press. If I don't end up liking the book, I can just sell them. I've also got this complete Brothers Grimm, which is like this edition. I was just in a little bookstore on a little island by like Galliano, which is off the coast. And there was this bookstore that had these, and I was like, well, this is probably $100, and then it was $35. So I was like, well, considering I guessed it was $100, I feel like I should buy it. Then I have one of the more disappointing books I've read, which is Easton Press Tigana. Not the book itself, which is obviously brilliant, but I got this online, and it was like, it has some mild sunning, and then it's just like gray instead of the brown. This does have one thing of interior art, but this is kind of one of those where you'd think like, hey, Easton Press, company that only does special editions, versus Dragonsteel, just one author's random pet company to make like just their books. You'd think Easton Press, but it just feels lower quality than the like Way of King's leather bounds, if I'm being honest. They're still nice books, but they definitely like these are just feel like a higher quality leather, and they're a little heavier, and the paper quality feels nicer. Then I've got this Wizard of the Pigeons, which I got in Seattle at Emerald Con. So it is signed. I actually, when I went to get Assassin's Fate signed, I forgot that I'd bought this, so I forgot to get this signed. And then later we just saw Robin Hobb in the bookstore, and I asked, and she was super nice and signed this because she's the GOAT. And then obviously the special editions, which are just nice looking books. I'm pretty happy with them. I think Sunlit Man, especially, is like pretty damn cool. Their artwork is all spectacular. I think they did a pretty damn good job with those. All right, then we come down here. We've got A Song of Ice and Fire and Blood, obviously. I'll probably at some point get Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. I read that because it was in my high school library, so I don't actually own it physically. And I've only read it once a long time ago, so I don't remember it at all. But I'll read that after I'm done rereading all of these. I don't think I'll reread Fire and Blood before I read that, but like, you know, I gotta still do Storm of Swords, Feast and Dance. Then we also got the Ice Dragon, which I've just randomly been sitting on. And then we got this weird frog guy that I just put in front of Black Company, because I feel like that's kind of the vibe. So obviously the Omnibus of Black Company, which I think have pretty good covers. Like, actually, they have the annoying permanent sticker, but like, I don't know, they're reasonably nice books. And they're pretty nice to read. They are a bit demoralizing because the font is really small and the pages are really big. So you'll be like, what the hell? I've only read like 15 pages when actually you've read the equivalent of like 30. Then I've got Terra Ignota, which you can see a bookmark in there because I'm like almost done 7 Surrenders. I should finish today. 7 Surrenders is awesome. I don't have Will to Battle because when I ordered it, we'll get to it later, I accidentally ordered the short version of Will to Battle. That will be corrected shortly. These are pretty nice additions as well. I think Tor is kind of going downhill, but they did good with this, so that's something. Perhaps the Stars is a lie. Perhaps the Stars is actually substantially longer than the other books, but its papers are thinner. And then we also have Project Hail Mary, The Spear Cuts Through Water, The Hobbit, Memory and Dream, featured in my last video, and the entire collection of the Hainish Cycle. I've read these 4, and I've read some of the Hainish Cycle, but not all. And I hope to be done Terra Ignota reasonably soon. Moving here, we've got Stormlight hardcovers and Emperor's Soul, because of course. It's kind of a middle-of-the-road edition of Way of Kings and Words of Radiance, where if it's the first edition, these are way thicker and have thicker pages. and then the latest editions have Way of Kings this way. These are kind of in between, so they kind of have the worst of both worlds, but they're still actually pretty nice. I mean, Stormlight hardcovers generally are nice. My Words of Radiance did come with, like, originally a bunch of these pages on the back were, like, sewn together. Let's not accidentally spoil Words of Radiance, but I guess I can't show you. Like, a bunch of pages I had were, like, still attached together, and I had to, like, cut them with a knife to make it readable. You can kind of see on top which ones were messed up, so that was awesome, but I mean, it's Stormlight. And they're pretty nice hardcovers. And then obviously it's a first edition Rhythm of War, which is signed. It is signed just on like a random sheet in front. Then Emperor's Soul is also signed. Then we got the anniversary editions of Lord of the Rings and the Silmarillion, which I think are pretty damn good value for a special edition. With like they're pretty cool with like the end pages, and they read pretty nicely. They stay open. I've also got this edition of Invisible Life of Addie LeBrew, which was just the same price as the normal hardcover, and maybe the GOAT value books, which is the Illustrated Farseer, which I think are actually like pretty high quality paper, like, and like with really good illustrations. Granted, they're really good illustrations that do whitewash fits, and they also have like a sewn binding as well. And they were pretty cheap. I wasn't gonna buy them, and then in store I saw one physically, and it had a sewn binding, and I was like, you know what? That's pretty good value. That's Subterranean Press Ship of Magic, which is absolutely thick because of the paper they use. Pretty disappointing as a Subterranean Press edition, but it is just like still pretty nice, and I do really like the cover, and it's live shipped, so I was always going to buy it. I got my Suntup Last Unicorn that I got very recently, which I'm pretty damn happy with. Nice slipcase, just feels high quality. I really like the cover art with just like no wording. It's like just the artwork. I wish more special editions did that, and then you can just like put the title on the slipcase. It just feels high quality. Got some good artwork. Yeah. And then I do have a moderately disappointing special edition, but still pretty nice though, and that's the Midworld Press. But the nice thing about it is I think this is like my favorite cover art of like any book I own. For like when you spread out the art and look at it all the way, it's just pretty sick. And then there is some nice artwork. My only disappointment about this is it does literally say it has a sewn binding on the website, and then I got it and it is absolutely glued. I don't know how well that focuses, but it 100% is a glued binding. But it is like a somewhat faux leather bound book. It's signed and it's got a sick cover, so it's still pretty nice. I didn't buy Shadows Linger because I just don't think the cover looks as good, and that's kind of the main thing that made that worth it to me, is that it was such a nice cover, considering they lied about the binding, which isn't my favorite. So it's actually like arguably not nicer than this edition of Dune, which also is a glued binding, but has like the blue end papers and also has a sick cover. And then this Wraithmarked Sword of Kaigan, which honestly, I think just in terms of the quality of the book itself, ignoring like the words inside, I think this is my third nicest book, only behind the Folio Book of the New Sun and the Way of Kings. I think the silver end pages are sick. It's got like this really nice textured cloth binding on the inside that also looks really cool. It's got spectacular art, and it's extremely worth it. It's made me feel pretty good about getting other Wraithmarked editions, because I actually think quality-wise, it's pretty fantastic and kind of exceeded my expectations. All right, moving lower, we got First Law, just the paperbacks. Yeah. And we also got Malazan Book of the Fallen, all in the Tor mass market paperbacks. Yes, you can see in the intro I did have the Bantam version of the Bone Hunters, which is why the Bone Hunters has like spine isn't cracked when all the others aren't. And it just annoyed me every time because it was taller, even though it was a nicer book in isolation. So I eventually bought the Tor one. And then I've also got a random edition of Forest Mage down here because I couldn't find the UK paperbacks. So I've got UK paperbacks over there, but that's only Shaman's Crossing and Renegade Magic. And then we got our Jim Butcher shelf, ish, because it actually doesn't have Warrior Born or Cinderspires. But we got Codex Alera. Do I have these in the right order? Holy crap, I actually do. And we got Dresden. Stormfront, you can tell I lent this book to someone and haven't lent the others to people because it's the only one with a destroyed spine. We got everything up to changes, and then we go to hardcovers after changes, because things change. And we got through Battleground, briefcases on top. Coming down here, we got the Easton Press Brothers Karamazov that came with Count of Monte Cristo I mentioned before. We got Book of Earthsea that I would like to put more prominently, but I just don't really have a good spot for it. Because Earthsea is great, and that's a pretty nice edition. I think it didn't actually end up costing more than buying everything in paperback, and like it's just nicer to read than those. We got the most disappointing hardcover ever in like this cover. It's so gross. Like, I'm sorry to whoever did it. It's not your fault. It doesn't go with the other Jim Butcher books at all. They better bloody keep Chris McGrath for Dresden. I don't even like Chris McGrath that much, but when you have 17 or 19 Chris McGrath covers, you stick with it. Especially because these are also Chris McGrath. Like, come on. And I feel like he's improved in the recent years. Like, the later Dresden ones and Aeronauts Windlass are, like, clearly nicer than his previous covers. Like, his Stormfront is just... Like, his early Dresdens are just, like, bleh, you know? This one you can barely even see Harry. Like, whatever. I guess it's trying to fit more the noir aesthetic than, like, the epic fantasy aesthetic at that point. Then we got Percy Jackson. I don't have all the Percy Jackson books. I lost my copy of Battle of the Labyrinth. And then I also don't have Blood of Olympus, because I don't actually like Blood of Olympus. I actually got House of Hades relatively recently, because it was just annoying me that I didn't have it when it's, like, my favorite Percy Jackson book. And then I've got a bunch of Calvin and Hobbes, which I'm extremely pleased about their existence, because Calvin and Hobbes, if you haven't read Calvin and Hobbes, they can be enjoyed at any age. Yeah, I mean, Calvin and Hobbes is awesome. And then I've got a random physics book. I have no idea why this is here. And I've got The World of Ice and Fire, which is like a Song of Ice and Fire, like, history textbook. It's got pretty damn cool art. It's gonna spoil House of the Dragon, so if you care about House of the Dragon and you want World of Ice and Fire, I would not read that part, because it's a pretty unsatisfying way to get the story of House of the Dragon, which, I mean, Fire and Blood is better. The Fire and Blood hardcover is actually also pretty cool. It's got a bunch of illustrations. And it was just a normal hardcover price. So it's like... I don't know, it's got a bunch of stuff in there. It's pretty cool. And then down here, we got Fiona of our Tapestry. Got all the different watches for all the different worlds. A random edition of the Hallowed Hunt, because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. And then Wheel of Time. And then we got the trade paperbacks for the last 3. I wish I had the trade paperbacks for everything. I really like these editions. They're very floppy and they read very nicely. Then I got the companion. Buying this was a mistake. Just use the wiki on the internet. It's not useful since the invention of the internet. Are you angry that I haven't paid attention to you and I've been pointing my phone at books? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the commenters would rather more you as well. So, what's up? Just take a break and pet the cat for a bit, you know? Because she's a perfect creature. Allegedly. Actually, she's a menace to society. But she would be, but I keep her from the rest of you. So she's only a menace to me. Yeah, hi. Some neck scratches. Yeah. Okay. Here's your bit of cat. Now we're going in here. We got more stuff. I guess we'll start from the top left. I've got Red Rising. I don't have the book Red Rising because I bought it on e-reader because it was like $2 on e-reader before I read the series. So we just got Golden Sun through Dark Age. I'll get Lightbringer in paperback at some point. Got I Know This Much Is True, which is one of my mom's favorite books and is really good. I mentioned it. I think it made my top 10 of the year I read it. 2020, I think last year, 2023. Got The Winter King by Bernard Cornwell. That's on the list. It's been on the list for a while. I'm trying to get to it. Crime and Punishment, Catch-22. Kite Runner. I'll be reading Kite Runner really soon because it's also one of my mom's favorite books, and I'm going to read it in July, actually. Got some random classics that I don't know why I own. I have my mass market paperback Wise Man's Fear on its own. I do have a copy of Name of the Wind down here, but it just really looks really ugly on this shelf to have a trade paperback and a mass market paperback together, and they don't match, and it tilts me, and I'm angry about it. I got David Gemmell, Lord of the Silverbow. I found that in a used bookstore, which is pretty damn cool. Dreams of the Dying, which was the closest book on here to making the background shelf, because I really like that book. Pretty nice edition as well. Oh, pretty nice cover. Here's my materials. I think these are actually my sister's books, the V. Schwab's book, and she just didn't want them, so I took them. Got 2 random Lightbringer books. I gave the rest away. I got a chess openings book that's super outdated now, because you can just use leechess.org. I got City We Became by N.K. Jemisin. I really just need to read this, because it's a win-win either way. If I like it, then I read a book I like. If I dislike it, then I can get Oliver to read the Broken Earth trilogy. Fire Upon the Deep. This was a cover by and a title by. This title's so sick. A Fire Upon the Deep. I just really like that title. I don't know. It's one of my favorite titles. I know Alan really likes it. So this is another one I hope to get to this year, but we'll see. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I think it's technically also my sister's book that she just kind of left and I took. And then I've got the first 2 books of The Expanse. A random hardcover of Inheritance by Christopher Paolini. This might be the oldest book I like. Obviously not the oldest book in terms of when it was published, but that I've owned the longest. Got The Will of the Many, and all of A Series of Unfortunate Events, which are also my sister's that I ended up stealing / she abandoned. Got The Bone Ship by R.J. Barker. I'm gonna be honest, I just bought this because I'm like, it looks like Live Ship. Maybe it'll be Live Ship. Haven't read it yet. This is a book my sister got for me. I think she read and thought I would like. It's a fantasy book. Apparently it's good. Got Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I got this in a book, like the book travel box. I got We Are Legion, We Are Bob. This was a Secret Santa from Kai, I believe. 2 random books that I read for a philosophy class. I got Sharp's Assassin that I actually found in a Save-On Foods the other day. And I just bought it. Bone Shard Daughter, forget why I bought this, but I'll probably read it at some point. 3 Body Problem. Shipbreaker I read a long time ago. It's a YA book. I remember I liked it. No bloody idea what happens on it. I just remember it happens by the coast. Promise of Blood, as Alan would say. This Kurt Vonnegut should probably go with the rest of the Kurt Vonnegut's, whatever. Robopocalypse, another random novel. We got Gates of Rome. This is a book Kyle keeps telling me to just not start with this for the author, but I bought it first because it's Rome, and then I read the first page and didn't like the first page. Genesis of Misery was a Christmas present for my sister this year. Dead Man's Hand is obviously Jim Butcher's son, and I bought it randomly. Hey, there's Fahrenheit 451, House of the Cerulean Sea. Hey, we got to a book I've actually read. I guess I've technically read Shipbreaker, but it's been a pretty long list of books that I haven't read. Well, I technically read some of these. I don't think I read all of them, but I was supposed to read all of them for that aforementioned philosophy class. But hey, I've read House in the Cerulean Sea. Cirque, this was a book of some discretion, because I do not remember why I have this book. I don't remember ever getting it, but I do. So whatever. Kindred is an Octavia Butler book, will probably be the next Butler book I read. I read Parable of the Sower. Didn't dislike it, but didn't love it. But I have heard pretty good things about Kindred. I got Player of Games, which I read this year and thought was really good. Life of Pi, I read a long time ago. Left Hand of Darkness, I read this year. We got His Dark Materials. I've only read book 1. I'm hoping to continue this year. I was kind of lukewarm on it, but didn't dislike it. Red Mars is a random book I own. I've got Kings of the Wild. I have read those. I really like these covers. Like, they're covers that at first didn't stand out, but then I kept looking at while I was reading both books, which I think is a pretty good sign. Like, I kept getting to things described in one and wanting to see it on the cover. And then we got some random Pratchett books. Mort, which I've read. I've read these 3, and then I haven't read Good Omens, Men at Arms, or Night Watch. We got Hyperion and a random copy of Forge of Darkness. It still has a bookmark in it from where I got to. Got pretty far. Maybe one day I'll actually read it. And we got all the John Gwynne stuff, all going together, which looks pretty good going together. We got 5 Warrior Angels trilogy next to John Gwynne, which just kind of feels fitting. Right height as well. We got The God Is Not Willing. I really like The God Is Not Willing. Probably it'll be like the main books I like more would be like Deadhouse Gates, Memories of Ice, Midnight Tides, The Bone Hunters, Reaper's Gale, Toll the Hounds, and The Crippled God. But it'd only be a little bit behind like Deadhouse Gates. More Le Guin. I accidentally owned some of these twice because they're all in the Hainish cycle otherwise. Also, by the way, What's Up, William? Demon in White, Sun Eater. Randomly ran into Kyrian at Emerald Con. He was mostly selling Magic the Gathering art, and I was like, hold up. You're the guy who does the Sun Eater covers. And then he was like, see, one of his, like, employees was like, no, you should totally bring the Sun Eater stuff. And he was like, nah, I'm not gonna bother. Then it was like, holy crap, someone actually recognized that. Speaking of which, Lesser Devil doesn't make it with the rest of the Sun Eater stuff because it's not as good. Got some Daniel Abraham. Some other Daniel Abraham here somewhere. Because I also own book 1 of The Dagger and the Coin. I don't know where it's off to. Where the hell is it? Could have sworn we'd already gotten to it. Oh no, it's down here. Okay, I was blind. That means you could see it the entire time. I was wondering where it was on the camera. Whatever. We got these backwards, but the thing is, it's gonna look weird if it goes like down and then back up. So I don't know if I'm gonna do anything about it. What if I put it? Okay, we're gonna do some. What is the best way to do this? I don't know. Whatever. I'm just gonna leave it where it is for now. And then this is how you lose the Time War and Parable of the Sower. Are these the same height? I should really put these next to each other. Yeah, let's swap these out. Let's put Banks down here. And get the Octavia E. Butler books next to each other. Yep, put my phone down for a second again. Enjoy looking at the roof of a bookshelf. Okay. Got Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy, Uprooted. I think this was my sister's book. This is like technically an anniversary edition, but it's just a normal hardcover. But it's got this on the inside, so that makes it an anniversary edition, whatever. I got the two. Oh, crap. I just dropped Earth and the New Sun. I swear I've dropped Earth and the New Sun more than every other book I own combined. It always falls off my bookshelf. I just did that because I was like, oh, I should switch the order of these so it goes in descending height. Okay, and then we got the 2 ML Long books. Obviously, I've read Sword of Kaigen twice. Blood Over Bright Heaven is definitely on the list for this year. Same with Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I've got my 2 not really matching editions of Book of the New Sun. I really only bought this one. I think I actually bought this one first because it's so chaotically beautiful. And then I've got Earth and the New Sun as well. Shawshank Redemption is actually on top of it because Earth and the New Sun, for some reason, loves falling over. And if I keep something on top of it, then it doesn't. Alright. We got some random wooden cutlery, including a straw and chopsticks. I don't know why it's here. We got Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. I've read page 1. I liked page 1. We've got some R. Scott Baker, Darkness That Comes Before. We got Theft of Swords. I haven't read any of these. Empire in Black and Gold. A random book with philosophy jokes. And then there were none. A Man Called Ovi. Hey, Graceling I've read. Random YA book I read while young. Got American Gods, which I've read and thought was pretty good. Obviously, there's, Neil Gaiman, whatever. Skyward, book 1 and 2. I have not read 3 and 4 yet. I definitely will. I have, again, this is technically my sister's book, and this time it's a nice book, and it's Pride and Prejudice. I believe oh, yes, hi, I know you're not being paid attention to. Here, do you want to step up here and you can be on while we go through the books? There. We've got, remember that edition of Brothers Grimm? There's also a version of the Iliad, but I just didn't like it that much. I've got a signed J.M. Miro Ordinary Monsters, because he was at the same event as Guy Gavriel K. We got Susanna Clark's short story collection that I want to read, because Susanna Clark and Pure Nessie was genius. Wave Kings Prime. I'm definitely saving this for when I'm on Stormlight Withdrawal, probably about halfway in between the gap between Stormlight 5 and 6. Got The Way of Dan, which I thought was pretty good. Still haven't bought book 2 and 3, keep meaning to. Sorry, Philip. Got the other Daniel Abraham book that I'm going to try and find a way to put next to this, but right now isn't, because I'm going to be honest, I put these books on here pretty haphazardly because I was just trying to move. So the order's pretty cursed. Shadow of What Was Lost. Also could arguably go up next to Will of the Many. Whatever. We got The Invention of Hugo Cabret and Wonderstruck. These are such nice books. I think my mom read these to me when I was a kid. And they're just like... I've heard that they hold up pretty well, and I want to try rereading this. Because I remember it being really good. But I was a kid when I read it. Like, I would have been like 8 when I read this. I don't even know. 8's a random number. Like, it could have been anywhere between, like, was read to me when I was, like, 5 to, like... I don't think I was older than 10. But the only KJ Parker book I own is 16 Ways to Defend a Bald City, which I know is not where Alan recommends you start, but it just sounds kind of fun. And then I've got my 4 R.F. Kwan books, don't own Yellowface. I've got my random Half a King hardcovers that I found at my university used book sale. Same with Isabel. Then I've got the Hunger Games trilogy hardcover. Technically also my sister's still. I got Voice of War by Zach Argyle. Stop attacking the phone. Do you feel bad? Do you feel guilt? Is that something you're capable of feeling? Do you have answers for the people? You don't feel like you're that ashamed at all. Okay. Oh, okay. See? I have video evidence. She attacked me. She's evil and mean. I've got a random meat for tea, which is... Can you stop attacking me while I'm trying to film? This is uncouth. You can sit anywhere else in the apartment right now, and it's fine. That you're like, no, I want to sit here. If I try and move you, are you going to attack me? I don't think you are. Boop. Okay. Got this random short story collection because one of the short stories in it is my sister's that got published. See if we can find which one it is. Now, there we go. Symbiosis, page 87. I forget what that one's about, but whatever. And then whatever. And then I, very annoyingly, have this edition of Will to Battle. Because when I bought the rest of the series, I wasn't paying attention. And I didn't notice it was a different height from all the others. So, that's unfortunate. We have 2 random printed books that my sister wrote when she was young that she will never, ever, ever, ever release to the public or let anyone read. But that's okay. I'm still going to keep them. We got Grace of Kings in the tall paperback. But Evie is the GOAT, and so I'm getting the Broken Binding edition, so that's fine. And then we got The Martian, and last of all, Sword and Planet. But actually not last of all, because when I moved here, came in, and I noticed it's got these shelves, which can put books in them. Isn't that incredible? There you go. So we got the Stormlight for UK up to Oathbringer. Then we got Sen Sen's Book of Babel. Got the 2 Soldier's Son books that are matched. Then we got this box set of Harry Potter. It looks quite nice, but you can never get any of the books out. Okay, that was a bloody 40-minute video. Hopefully I'm not too lazy and actually do edit out the parts where like I've put my phone down like this. But okay, I've been asked for this video like a lot of times. And you know what? I've just been too lazy to film it. But that was fun going through them all. And especially because like, you know, I just put these all out and moved. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a good day, everyone. Which of these books do you want me to read the soonest? Which one should I move up the TBO? Bye, everyone.